Okay, we're going to start by browsing and navigating to the dataset folder and selecting our proposed cross-sections DGN file, making sure again that we have our user project and interface set up, pointing to the correct workspace, which is our standards. And we open that DGN file. If you're prompted to upgrade for the Select Series 4 civil data, you can do that. And next we want to go to the MicroStation pull down under File, References, and we want to attach a reference. So I go to File, References, and in my References dialog box I'm going to go to Tools, Attach, and we want to attach the completed design 2D DGN file, making sure we use the interactive attachment method, and I go ahead and hit Open. On the interactive settings, we want to choose Coincident World. We are bringing forward the default model, attaching it with an orientation of Coincident World, and we want to set the live nesting to a depth of 2. All my other settings are good. I can go ahead and hit OK and close the References dialog box. Fit the view. Here's my design data. I'm going to zoom in towards the bottom part so I can review the road and looks like a little driveway and parking lot. This corridor that's being created right here, that is a corridor called GeomCL, and there's a centerline alignment GeomCL as well, that red line in the middle. All right, so I can zoom in, fit the view, zoom in, and save settings. So do a file, save settings, so that it remembers my location where I'm zoomed in and all my tool settings that I currently have opened. Next, you could review your level displays. If I go to the level display, I can expand this, and you can see why we did live nesting with the depth of 2. So we can go all the way down here and get a reference of a reference of a reference. All the levels are already turned on, so you can go ahead and close this dialog. And the next thing we want to do is create our cross sections. So select the Create Cross Sections tool. Underneath Corridor Modeling, my cross section tools are next to the letter R. We don't want to open up a cross section view. That's a temporary cross section view, similar to the temporary profiles. We want to click on the second button, which is Creating Cross Sections, and it'll create cross section model in this DGN file. And the first thing it prompts me to do is locate the alignment. So I need to left click and identify that red line, center line alignment. And it brings up the Create Cross Section dialog box where I need to load up my settings. So we have a Preferences button. Click on that Preferences button. And on my Preferences, we want to use a sheet without grid. So go ahead and select that preference and hit Load and close the preferences. And when I loaded up the settings, it changed my offsets and several other values and settings on these other tabs. But what we want to do is change our stop station to a round number of 2000, and we want to change the name of the model that's going to be created for this cross-section sheet. We want to type in a name of proposed XS, proposed cross-section. And I'm not going to go through my settings over on the left-hand side for this demonstration. I'll just go ahead and hit Apply and let it process for a second, and it creates that new model. Puts my cross sections in there. You can close the Create Cross Section dialog box, and if you wanted to, you could zoom into the cross sections. An easier way to zoom into the cross sections and view them is to use the Cross Section Viewer command. So it's the last button next to the letter R under Corridor Modeling. And in the Cross Section Viewer, we do want to make sure we get the right cross section model and set our zoom factor So we're going to set the zoom factor to 0.75, and we're going to set our movie mode to 1 second and hit run. And then every 1 second it would step through our cross sections. I'm going to go ahead and hit the escape key on my keyboard. I don't want to run through all of those, but they do tell us that we can click on 10 plus 50 and then you use your up and down arrow keys. If you click on a cross section in the list, you can just use your up and down arrow keys on your keyboard to step through your cross sections. Go ahead and close this cross section viewer.